Ed Sheeran cut a laid-back figure as he exited a discreet vehicle on Wednesday and made his way inside Global Radio Studios, amid a council investigation into a new wooden gazebo spotted on his £3.7 million East Suffolk estate. The singer, 30, who has purchased multiple properties in the town of Framlingham, is facing questions from locals around whether he gained planning permission for his new build after it was noticed in a playful snap he shared on Instagram. But Ed appeared unfazed by the recent drama as he greeted fans at the London recording venue. He was seen rocking a white tee with black cargo trousers and a leather-look bomber jacket. The Shape of You hitmaker stood out from the crowd in red trainers as he protected himself from the novel coronavirus with a black face mask. A source revealed on Wednesday that a gazebo could be spotted on Ed's land, which boasts 4 houses, a wildlife pond, a gym and even an outdoor kitchen. The source told The Sun he had permission to build a bar area, with decking and a pizza oven, along with 2 barbecues. But whoever complained is saying that the gazebo was never there before. Now the council is looking into whether he needs planning permission for it. Because his property is Grade 2 listed, all sorts of hoops have to be jumped through if any work is done. A representative for East Suffolk Council told the publication, "We have been made aware that a gazebo has been erected at this property and we are making inquiries to establish if there are any planning requirements." Mail Online has contacted representatives for Ed and East Suffolk Council for further comment. It comes after Ed further expanded his £3.7 million mini village in his Suffolk hometown in 2019 by buying the home of a neighbour for £875,000 after she complained enough is enough about his building work. The superstar musician's burgeoning domestic empire, which has been dubbed Sheeranville, started in 2012, when he bought a modern farmhouse in the town of Framlingham, Suffolk, where he grew up. Since then, he has bought 4 neighbouring homes, the last of which was the April purchase of the home of next-door neighbour Sheeran, who had objected to his plans to build a tree house and 32-feet chapel. Just had insisted enough is enough after he submitted the plans for the chapel, and he has also built a pub and a wildlife pond, which locals suspect is being used as a swimming pool. Sheeran, who is worth £160 million, grew up in the picturesque town and met his wife, Cherry Seaborn, 27, at Thomas Mills High School. As well as giving 1,100 pupils at the school free tickets to one of his gigs, he also donates clothes to a charity shop in Framlingham's main square. But since Sheeran objected to plans by neighbours to build 2 homes in a paddock close to Sheeranville in 2017, there have been a series of objections from neighbours against the star's own plans. A planning consultant had written to Suffolk Coastal District Council on the star's behalf, arguing that the paddock home proposal would extend the village in an unplanned and superficial way into the countryside. But neighbour Tony Robinson, one of the applicants in the 2017 proposal, and 7 other locals objected to Sheeran's plans to build the Anglo-Saxon-style chapel, where he wanted to marry his childhood sweetheart Cherry. The Shape of You singer had argued the chapel was necessary because some of his guests had high profiles and so there was a need for discretion which his local church could not provide. Mr. Robinson complained that building work might disturb great-crested newts, a protected species. He wrote in a complaint to the council that Sheeran wanted to satisfy the needs of the spiritual world whilst overlooking his obligations to the living world, particularly that of protected species. Who lived next door to Sheeran, wrote in her objection there had been and continues to be significant development of this site. She added that while neighbors had previously been accepting, the chapel application meant that enough was enough. The objections lead to the chapel plans being ditched, and Sheeran ended up marrying Cherry at his local church. The star's main home, a farmhouse with surrounding lane, was purchased for £895,000 in June 2012. The same year, he bought a 16th-century Grade II listed house next door for £450,000. Vast scale. It comes after Ed further expanded his £3.7 million mini village in his Suffolk hometown in 2019 by buying the home of a neighbour for £875,000 in September 2016. He then bought the 4-bedroom detached home in front of his farmhouse for £925,000. His fourth purchase came in October 2017 with the purchase of the bungalow on the other side of his driveway for £525,000. Ms. Just had complained to the local council in 2013 that Sheeran's plans for a treehouse would rise above the existing hedge and look directly into our property. He initially withdrew the plans but then resubmitted them a year later and they were passed. Huge scale. He has also built a pub and a swimming pool, and in 2018, the ex-owner of his latest home said enough was enough when he applied to build a 32-foot chapel in the 16-acre grounds. The star then had permission granted in 2017 to build a wildlife pond. But he then installed a jetty and steps, and neighbors suspected it was more for the star's use than for newts and frogs. He was then forced to keep the landscape features of the jetty and steps, and some neighbors objected. Mr. Robinson again complained, saying the pond was more for a wild lifestyle than actual wildlife. Controversy. In June, the musician won a battle to keep a 16-foot plaque he had put up without planning permission on a barn he had converted into a pub. Neighbors Kenny and Carol Catty also complained, mentioning loud music being played near the pond and suspecting the pond was actually for swimming. In October 2018, the council allowed him to keep the additions to his pond, and last weekend it was revealed he had put up a wall of hay bales around the pond. In June, the musician won a battle to keep a 16-foot plaque he had put up without planning permission on a barn he had converted into a pub. He was initially ordered to take the sign down outside the drinking den, which he had named the Lancaster Lock. But planning bosses then reversed their decision and allowed him to go ahead. Granting retrospective consent, Robert Scrimgeour, a council planning officer, said, "The signage does not cause me any concern and I judge that there is no harm arising from them that would adversely affect the character of the farmhouse." He applied for planning permission in 2017 to create the private pub, which comes with underground rooms and a passage to the main house. The bar was given the go-ahead, although it had to be restored with bricks and tiles which were in keeping with the original barn. Mr. and Mrs. Ed Sheeran has faced a flurry of objections against his plans for Sheeranville, pictured with wife Cherry Seaborn.